Oh hey! I've heard of Devil Factory before. This level had a 25% time penalty, which means that it would have had, like, nearly a score of 80, like 77. This would have been, so as I hear, in the top 15. This is the highest rated time penalty level. And it's mine. One token, one energy element. Right from the start, I want to give a shout out to Neo Watch for the tile set I used. Unfortunately, I think the thing I lost the graphics were the thing I lost the most points on, but like I could have used it better. There were layering bits that I didn't. Oh wait, this is the way up. So one of the gimmicks of this level is invincible enemies, which are like visually different and distinct in a way, in a more complete means than just it's glowing. Another gimmick of this level is enemies with one eye, because this is the Devil Factory. We've got devil bits and bobs all over the place. I forgot I was supposed to land on that. I forgot there was a guy underneath. I could have remembered by looking at the screen. I had a lot of fun making this level. It was definitely not very good back. Ooh, Young Bane's chasing. It was definitely not very good before the extra week that I gave myself. I would have got like 30 points had I submitted on time. So I cheated and used the grace period on purpose. Oh yeah, these are like custom. It's not really cheating, it's something that was always within the rules, but it was always a way for the rules to work out, but it's not what you're supposed to do, unless you really need it, and I did. So like, in addition to the custom goop on the floor for like Yoshi's Island stuff, the vent that we're in, these are actually custom devil blobs. You can tell because if you hit them with a charge shot, they're little guys all stick around and don't immediately get decimated by the charge shot. All I did was give them like 10 frames of invincibility. But now they're a lot more effective as an enemy. I like making the places you have to be not quite safe. Or I like when there's not. I like making levels without a like vantage point you can easily snipe from when you're doing stuff. Like putting the pressure on, like this guy. It's good that I expected them to make invincible duplicates, but this works just fine. I think I adjusted it so that it so that it never scrolls off screen. It is a sort of permanent enemy, and oh no. Ooh, the goop! The goop is actually so hard for me, who has troubleshooting at a 1 block height. Why did I give myself my own weakness? Oop, that's right. Actual real devil blobs. Honestly, just thinking of how many ways I could make this level idea work was kind of the fun part. Like, what all can relate to a devil? What all would be present in a factory for the devil boss? I like this room. You just can't outrun that. You gotta be so good. I like this room too. I like this is a good thing. That's popcorn. Munch. Right. I think this was the part where I was like moving on from the what would it be in a devil factory and onto like, hey, I found for myself these enemies that have one eye. Let's use them well. Let's bring in some stuff to use them better. Ugh. You got it. There's no death bit. That's not the punishment, but you still gotta beat this room without falling off. Ugh. Yep. I knew it. I could see that coming. Oh yeah, and if you want to get back up, Magnet Beam happens to be disabled, but everything else is still there.
Bring it.
Hey, it's Casino Man. I haven't checked the replacements. Oop. I need you as a platform. Thank you. Fun fact, this entire stretch here and the next room was designed specifically to be completable on the rush bike. There's never a moment where you have to get off of it to make a taller jump. And there's a few points where I adjusted the spacing specifically so that specifically to make like specific full speed jumps more doable, more feasible. That right there, what a nasty obstacle. This too, I think like taking any hit on those particular conveyors sends you back. You know what? I'm jumping up. Okay, we stayed on. Look at those vents in the back. Sinister devil goop. Alright, we cleared the path. On we go. So, so this level has a trickery token to watch out for, and we've already missed it. Did you catch it? Because it's like here. A lot of people gave me feedback saying this was like this underneath passage was a very good, like, I got a lot of positive feedback on that. And this, wow, Ignite Woman sprite is really tall. I guess her hair doesn't count. Yes, we are standing directly into the spike. So, you've got I could have made this better. I could have, like, because there's a few ways you can do this that are unintended. Like, jumping up like that. But the intended idea was you make a platform to cross the spikes, and Magnet Beam is taken away specifically so that you can't use it for that purpose, so that you use Ice Wall instead, and learn that Ice Wall is able to freeze the goop for a while. And once you've learned that, there's no reason to keep Ice Wall away from you anymore, so like, or to keep Magnet Beam away from you anymore, so like, you just get it back. It's right there. This Noble Nick, this trickery token is just here as a tutorial. That's the idea. And now with that around, we can just like climb out of here. If I was better. There we go. Also, it's green now. We're getting into the green part, because there's green devils. They're bouncier. If you know that about the ice wall, you can use it as a speedrun strat here. To just not have to do the loop back around. I'm very excited to see the speedrun to this level. But first I have to, like, complete the game, so I don't... Because apparently there's still more than the altar weapons, or the contest weapons, that I am stand to spoil myself on. No. There we go. I don't know why I used red for damage spike specifically. Nope. No. Okay, I stayed on. Getting to the end. The end. There were so many changes made to the final set of rooms here. Like everything after that large green vat was getting changed every 2 or 3 days. I'm quite alright with what I landed on, but I wish I could have spent more time on it. The background is kind of bare. It's even missing the guide blocks here. My enemy. Okay. Oh my gosh, Yonbanes. This level's a lot. Ooh, right, that's right. You can freeze the bouncy goop too, and that's how you get that. That's the only way you can get that. There's one obstacle that I had in exactly one obstacle that I had in an earlier iteration of the end that I wish I could have found a way to still use, but I couldn't. Nah. Alright. And a second checkpoint on the other side of that. And that's all there is for, like, the blocks. Water Shield? Water Shield is not the weapon that works best against this guy. It does the most damage. But anyway, meet the Devil Cores. There are 28 of them. Getting this boss to work was a nightmare. Designing this boss, like, on paper was really fun. Apparently I didn't make it work perfectly still. I don't know what happened there. But yeah, it was basically like wrangling a group of kindergartners to make a stage play, and they did and they were goofing off in new ways every time. It was awful. Do not, if I have advice, do not try to make a boss with 28 independent entities working together. It's bad. This is the classic devil pattern. If there's enough of them around, one of them goes into play defense. And yeah, the kind of attacks they can do change as their numbers dwindle. Whoop. Should be on to the next phase, but there's also one more type. Yeah, they can go at 2 heights, low to the ground and up high on this light blue attack. There we go. End phase. That's right, that's right. It's actually been For a moment I was like, why am I reacting this way to my own boss? Why am I feeling like things are so unexpected? It's because it's been 3 years since I played it. Since I played my own level. A little peek behind the curtain.
I expected a workout.
That explosion stuff at the end is because none of the 28 Devil Cores actually go away and are none of the 28 Devil Cores are actually defeated over the course of the battle. They all like, I've given each of them a buffer of like 100 extra HP, and once they enter that buffer, they act like they're destroyed. And just tell the rest of the group that, hey, I'm destroyed, skip my turn. And don't count me into the total when you're seeing what kind of attacks to use. And then also, at the end, wherever they exploded the first time is one of the quote-unquote random spots that the ending explosions happen. There are 28 of them. The Mega Man 1 met. The launching point of this level started at the end with the boss. I wanted a boss that was genuinely a devil boss. It attacks by moving from one side of the room to the other in strict patterns by splitting into separate parts and sending them over. All I removed was the fact that it's invincible most of the time. Instead, it's damageable most of the time. And, like, that's all it needed. If you change that one bit, you can make a very good devil boss. Now, there were a few other things that I didn't get to touching on the first time around this level, but let me just go through and see if I remember all of them. I think one of the main ones I should start off with is that, like, when I took that extra time, like, when I decided to take the extra week and the score penalty with it, it was more just about, like, getting a good level out there. I really didn't care that I would be getting a better score because of it overall. I didn't care that I'd be taking the score penalty. I just wanted to make something that people would enjoy. And on the whole, it worked. Also, yeah, the tile set was absolutely fine. I just could have stood to use it better. I didn't realize there were layering opportunities until, like, the very end. This is probably one of the rooms that's most evident in. Like, the background up there and all is fine, but the foreground kind of, functional. And it would have been just fine to have some of the, like, silver pipes going around the larger swaths of, I don't know, olive. You can outrun that, good. Let's see here. Well, not by overshooting that. How am I on W tanks? Very low. That's alright, I got plenty of mayonnaise. There we go, there's part one. There you go. See? Told ya. I believe one of the problems I had with this, like, I tried to make it so that you couldn't just run in. At first I tried to make it so you couldn't just run in invincible from break dash. I tried to make it so that you could, like, absolutely had to slide. But if I remember right, there were some problems with that. Like, some of the time you got nudged or, like, stood up by accident and it just didn't work, and you would bump into a spike and die by lowering that one to make it a spike passage. All in all, some people made it through the level without realizing ever that you could freeze the goop, and that's okay. The tutorial part of this didn't work, but they still came up with a creative solution to a sort of weird problem, and that merits a reward in itself. I do kind of wish I had refined it a bit better, though. One more thing beyond all the technical aspects of this fight is that there was actually an explicit attempt to make it colorblind friendly. Partly because one of the judges was colorblind, but also just because that sort of brought attention to, hey, video games should be colorblind friendly. Just in general. And so the colors are all such that even in complete grayscale you can tell them apart a bit. They're all fairly different shades, and the attacks that will happen concurrently with each other, such as these two, are at least distinct enough that you understand whether you're looking at a dark or a light color. I actually designed this boss so that it was weak to every weapon that affected it, with the exception of, I believe, just magnetic shockwave and tornado blow, which it is completely immune to. When I was making this boss fight, I was thinking more along the lines of Kaloctos from Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. That big guy wields the giant axes, you break them out of its hands and pick them up and go to town on them. And it's not that hard to fight, and I think the most satisfying fights are not always that hard of a fight. Sometimes it's just like a cathartic release. And you know, against a devil boss, against a representation of devil bosses, can you really ask for anything more than a cathartic release? There we go. Oh, you still break, you boss. Okay. This is a great segue to the problems I was having in development with getting this guy to behave. I don't know why one of them is on the wrong side of the screen. Story of my life with these guys, honestly. Yeah, Spark Chaser is the third weapon they're immune to. Anything that would make it that, like, you don't even have to look at the screen to win with, they're completely immune to. Every other weapon decimates them entirely, aside from the Buster. And even with the Buster, the damage that the boss does is fairly low, and the battle is fairly survivable. Intentionally so.
I expected a workout.
Behold, an early attempt to make them cross the room in a single file line! That's the green attack, and that sure is not single file. They're underground now. And they also end the attack way early. Behold, an attempt to make them idle on the right side of the screen. Yep, this was like, I hadn't coded an attack at this point. I was just like, let's have them hover on the right. They're not. Alright, let's go with that health bar. One devil core defeated is 1-0. One day, they just started dancing. I don't know why. Shit like this was happening constantly for like 2 weeks straight. It was awful. And when I say shit like this, what am I talking about? Well, they're not properly telling anyone to skip the turn. They're going back to the wrong side of the room after the attack. But not that one. And also they were using full health attacks when there were only 6 of them left. Basically, when I say this was like corralling a kindergarten class to put on a full stage show and watching all of them run in separate directions and ignore orders, this is what I mean. I'm very glad with how it turned out though, and I'm glad it got such a positive reception.